Hello and welcome to another Thursday night Case the Catty. My name is Erica. I am known as From Me to You Paper Crafts, and I'm so happy that you're here. You may be coming on live. Please comment and say hello, would be great. And if you're watching the replay, that is fine as well. So thank you for joining me. I've been a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator for 11 years this year, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. I have a team of about 9 or 10 people, and we all love to craft. We all love to share ideas and have fun together and travel together and do events together. And yeah, it's lots of fun. So if you're interested in becoming a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and joining my team, we have a fantastic join offer this month of May. It is, you get a whole bunch of free products. Plus, with your $135 Canadian join to get your kit, you get $165 worth of products. So that's a really, really great deal. If you have any questions about that, you can DM me and then we can have a conversation either by email or by phone. So welcome. So tonight we're going to be playing with playing by the sea. I live in Victoria, British Columbia, so I am on an island, and so we have lots of ocean around us and lots of beautiful beaches. The water's a little cold to swim in all year round. Most people that do swim in the ocean, they often will wear a wetsuit to swim. I don't like cold water. You won't find me swimming in our oceans here. Anyway, so excuse me, Seaside Wishes. It's a bundle, meaning that it comes with these beautiful stamps, and it also comes with a set of dies and an embossing folder. So that's why it's called a bundle. When you purchase bundles, you get a 10% discount because you're buying the whole product, the stamp set, the dies, and the embossing folder as an example for this one. Okay, so I'm going to show you. Tonight was my first play with it, so it's going to be a lot of fun. And yeah, so I'm going to turn my camera down so that you can see what I'm up to. Here we go. Okay, so I am going to move my camera to my work area here. All right, here we go. All right, so this is the stamp set, as I was saying. It's a photopolymer stamp set, so you get to see exactly where to place your stamps on your card. It's really particularly great for greetings, positioning your greetings on your card. And it comes with these beautiful 2 sand dollars, 2 starfish, and then you've got some background stones that you can, we're going to use those tonight to create a background on our card, and then you've got some greetings. So really, really cute set. This is what the embossing folder looks like. Okay, so it actually creates a background, and then you've got 3 sand dollars in here. So what you can do with this is simply use it as a normal everyday embossing folder. And so I took some pretty paper, pinky paper, and this is called Petal Pink, and I simply ran it through the embossing folder. I'm going to turn on this other light I have here because I think it shows texture better. Just bear with me while I turn on this light here. Okay, so hopefully you can see this, the texture in here. You see? So it has actually embossed a bit of a background on here. I hope you can see that. See the background there? So this is a quarter sheet of cardstock, so you could definitely use this on your card. If it's a layer, you'll have to trim it down just a tiny bit to 4 and 5 1/4, but look how pretty that is. Now, if you wanted to make these sand dollars stand out a little bit more, you can just take a sponge dopper, or you can take our blending brushes. We've got these blending brushes, and you can just color over them to create a little bit more depth on that. But that's what the embossing folder looks like all by itself. Okay. Now, the other option you have is you can put in the die. So there is a die. This is it here, and it will cut out the 3 sand dollars that are in here. Okay, so let's see, there's 3 of them. So to do that, You don't want to emboss this first and then cut it out, because when you run it back through the embossing machine, it will flatten out the embossing you've already done. Okay, so when you use the embossing folder by itself, you're just creating embossing. You don't then go and cut it. If you want to cut and emboss, then you need to cut and then run it through the embossing folder. So I did that. Now, to use the embossing folder, we've got a side that says Stampin' Up on it. Okay, so you're going to open up the embossing folder, and on the side that has the Stampin' Up logo, you're going to take the die and you're going to position it on here, and you're going to feel as you move it around that it's going to kind of click into place. So you're making sure that the blades are facing up, and then you just put it in there, and seeing if you push it, it won't. It kind of sits in there. Okay. So then what you do is you're going to take a piece of cardstock. So I usually cut it 4 by 5 1/4 inches. So here's another piece of our very vanilla. Okay. And you'll place this inside the embossing folder. Okay. And then you're going to close it, and you're going to run it through the embossing machine with the embossing plate. So you want to use the base plate, which is the thick plate at the bottom. You don't need that thin adapter plate for cutting. You're going to take that off. And then you're going to use the embossing plate, which is the gray plate. It's number 4. I'll show it to you here. This is your number 4 plate here. So this goes in like this on top of the platform, and then you run it through. And always make sure you're running it through with the fold going in the direction of your rollers. Okay. So after you do that, what you end up with are the sand dollars. They just cut out and they're already embossed. You see that? Okay. So I have done that. And now what I want to do is I'm going to take my blending brushes, and I'm just going to blend some of the petal pink color on top of these sand dollars. So that's how you can add some extra color. Okay. Or you could have cut it out of any colored cardstock that you want. So another thing you can do is stamp the actual sand dollars. So you've got 2 sand dollars in as a stamp. And what I did to get them both on here in the right position, because you want to stamp them in the right position so that you can put them in the machine to die cut them. Okay, so what you'll do is you will locate where the sand dollar is. The biggest one is down here. There's only 2 stamps for the sand dollars. I think I've got this on here right. Actually, I'm not doing this right at all, am I? Let me think about this for a second. Yeah, I can just cut them out like this. Okay, so I would cut them out like this if I wanted to do 2 at the same time. So you just run this through your machine to cut them out, and then you can put them back in the folder and emboss them. Okay. All right. So the card we're making is on page 73 of the annual catalog. And this isn't a card. It's very, very cool how they did this. They took a piece of acetate sheet and they kind of made a wall hanging out of it. So they created this card front, and they matted it with this window sheet. And then they put some little bits of driftwood on here and created like a little wall mount. It's really, really cute. But we're going to actually turn this into an actual card. Okay. All right. So the first thing is I'm going to create a background on my card front here. Actually, I'm doing it directly on my card base. So this is a piece of very vanilla thick card stock, and I am going to score this in half. So let me just grab my scoring tool here, and I'm going to score this at 4 1/4. This is half a sheet of cardstock, which is 8 1/2 by 11. And then you cut it in half, and then you're going to score it in half. Okay. And then when I create a card base, I will always take my bone folder and I will crease the fold here so that I get a nice crisp crease. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to create a bit of a background on here with these stones, and I've brought out some crumb cake ink, and then I've already mounted. There's 3 of these stamps for the stones. So I'm just going to create a generic pattern, and I'm going to stamp, let me just grab this scrap paper because I'm going to stamp off the edges. You can get a more effective background if you stamp off the edges. So I just use my crumb cake here, and I'm just going to make some patterns on my card. So I'm just going to do some random stamping. See, I'm going off the edge of the paper. And then I'm going to actually do some stamping and stamping off. So I've inked up the stamp. I'm going to stamp it off on my scrap paper and then stamp it on the front of my card. You see, so you can get a lighter color. So it's almost as if you have 2 colored inks. And then there's a third little stamp. So you get some good variation here. And it also helps to rotate your stamp so that you're not getting the exact same pattern everywhere. You're kind of turning it around to get a bit of a different pattern. Okay, and let's do a few more. And then we'll fill in a few more spots just to get a nice random. So this is a way of creating your own designer series paper, is by randomly stamping. And when you're doing it, you want to start with the larger images first, and then you can fill in all of the white space with the smaller stamps. All right, so there's a bit of a background there. Now, the next thing I want to show you is I'm going to sponge these sand dollars. So I did one of them already. So I just I used my blending brushes. So I'll show you how I did that. So I'm going to grab my petal pink ink here. And I'm going to grab some color. Excuse me. Now, the key to I keep saying sponging because we sponged for years and years and years. Now we're blending. So the key is that you don't want to ink up the blending brush and then start blending right on it. You want to come in off the side so that you don't get blotches. And if you want a bit more color, you can just put a bit more pressure on the brush itself. And then you kind of just want to rotate it. So I'm going to come off the edge and go back on. And just add a bit of color. And if I want a bit more in the middle, I'm just going to add a bit more color. It's as easy as that. So it gives it a little bit of extra texture. Now, there is a right and a wrong side. Just depends on whether you want the center part to be sticking up or depressed. So you can do either one. Doesn't really matter. The recipient certainly isn't going to see the difference. It's just something to know. All right, so I have my 3 little sand dollars here. All right, so I'm going to bring back my card and let's see what we're doing on here. So this is my card base here. And I'm going to be putting my sand dollars sort of like this. And I'm going to be putting them on dimensionals. Okay, and behind these, I'm going to tuck in some of the leaves. Now, I just wanted to show you some other pieces. These are some other dies that come in the set. You've got this kind of a woven sand dollar. Look how pretty that is. That cut out really easily. All the little bits just kind of fell out. And then you've also got some stamps for 2-size starfish. And then you can cut them out. And they've got lots of texture on them. They're really, really pretty. So that's lots of fun, lots of variation. Okay, now on to do the leaves. So there are some leaves on here. Now there's no stamps for the leaves. You just basically cut them out. But I want to add a bit of texture. See here, this is what the leaves look like. There's 3 sizes of leaves here. And there's a larger sand dollar, like a floral, if not a filigree. You've got 2 of them here that you can cut out. But these are the seagrass, and there's 3 different sizes. So you can either do this before or after. I think it's easier if I sponge before I cut them out. So let me just show you what I'm going to do. So I've got a piece of lemon lime twist here, and I'm going to grab another one of my blending brushes here. And before I use one, I always sort of rub off any extra color that might be on there. I kind of dedicate a brush for the greens, a brush for the pinks and reds, and a brush for the yellows and oranges, and another brush for purples. I mean, you could get a brush for every color, but that's a lot of brushes. All right, so what I want to do is I'm going to grab my lemon lime twist here. And I'm just going to, again, I'm going to blend some color on here. I'm going to go a bit darker in some spots and lighter in other spots. And then I'm just going to cut my grass out. I kind of don't want the same color everywhere. So I'm just adding a bit of texture here. Okay. Okay. So now I'm just going to grab my seaweed or seagrass, and I'm going to add my bits of tape on here. And we'll do 3. Actually, I don't even need the tape because I'm not, I usually use the tape when I'm positioning a die over a stamped image, just so it doesn't move. But on this, I can just, you know, throw these on here and take them over to my machine and cut them out. And I need a few. So I'll run it through twice. Well, here's 3 of these. Okay, and it's hard to see on camera, but there is a bit of variation of the green in there. But if you wanted to add more green, you could certainly sponge. Here I go with the word sponge again. you could just brush on a bit more color. So I'm just going to do these again. Well, my husband has been working really hard today. He's been power washing our deck, getting our furniture out. We're going to be putting up the netting around we've got kind of like an outdoor room with netting. So we're going to put that all together because very soon we should be able to eat outside. All right. So as I said, if you wanted to add just a bit more, color, you can just use your brush and just pick up a bit more color. I do like using sponge daubers because you can really get the edge a little bit easier. I mean, you can do it with these as well, but I think the sponge daubers are a little bit more, are easier to use to get your edges, but you can do it with these if you want just a bit more color. Now, if you had some pattern paper, you could certainly cut this seagrass out of pattern paper. That would be really interesting if you had a green pattern of some kind, like a green plaid, or make it really kind of different. All right, those are looking a little bit better. Okay, let's put our card together now. So here's our card front. And I'm going to put all of these on dimensionals, I think. Looks like they're on dimensionals, so let's do that. So I'll do about 3 dimensionals on each one. It was a gorgeous day today. We went for a bike ride this afternoon, which was a lot of fun because I got a new bike for my birthday in January, for my big birthday. All right, so the big one is going down towards the bottom. So do that, and then the medium-sized one is up here. And then the little one is over here. All right, and then I'm going to stick in some of these grasses. Now there's a few grasses that kind of overlap this other sand dollar. So I'm just going to grab a bit of glue. And just tuck that, whoops, tuck that underneath and let it just hang over that other sand dollar. And if they're too long, you can trim these off. just use this smaller one here. And let's just do one more. Okay, so there is our card. And then this card also asked for these flat adhesive back pearls. This came out last year with a stamp set called Seaside Bay, and they have carried forward. And they're absolutely beautiful. They're iridescent pearls. You've got the larger and the smaller ones. And I'm just going to put a few of these on my card. So let's throw one down here. We'll put a big one over here. And put another small one up here. Okay, and there is your card. I think it turned out really pretty. I can't wait to use the set a little bit more. Okay, and then on the inside, you could decorate. Now, if you wanted to step this up a little bit, as I did, I cut a few more of these, and you could, position these on the card as well. If you wanted to add a little bit more, you could throw in a couple of little starfish in here. A big starfish and a little starfish somewhere. I like the little starfish. But you could step it up. What we call step it up is just adding some extra texture. And there's your card. So a sweet set, perfect for anybody who lives near the ocean, who loves the sea. Lots that you can do with that. Don't forget, you can go on Pinterest, you put Stampin' Up, and you put the name of the stamp set, and you'll get lots of other examples, as well as on YouTube. So thank you so much for watching. If you think somebody would enjoy this video, if I've given you any tips or tricks that will help other people craft as well as yourself, please give me a thumbs up or share the video. And thank you so much. Now, if you're Canadian and you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I am happy to help you out. I can send you a catalog. You can shop my online store. And beneath I always put this on YouTube as well. I'm actually going live on YouTube tonight for the very first time, so I don't know what that looks like. But if you can leave some comments over there as well, just to let me know how it worked out on Facebook, on YouTube, I'd really appreciate that. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again Monday morning. I do Mojo Monday, and it's at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time if you'd like to join me there on my Facebook page, From Me to You Paper Crafts. So thanks again for watching, and I will see you again soon. Bye for now.